Okay, Chris, fantastic job in class tonight. I'm just going to do a review of what we did, all right, and what I saw. We started off with the whole step exercise. That you don't have to worry about as far as trying to control your fingers too much, trying to keep them pretty close to the surface of the guitar. Don't knock yourself out with that because you're basically stretching, so that's going to happen. It's a given. I just want you to make sure that you're making use of that ring finger, not the middle finger, but the ring finger on this particular exercise. So, of course, it's 1, 3, 5, right? And then we're going to go 1, 5, 8. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 8. All right, so complete use of that ring finger. All right, so just remember that. Um, we went on to doing the half step exercise, that one. The only thing that I want you to really pay attention to, you're doing everything right, but pay attention to like the eighth notes, the triplets, and the 16th notes, because these things are going to help you when you do your solos, improvisation, and solos on the standards that we're going to cover. You're going to want to add some of those things to spicing up your solo to help you kind of really express what you're trying to do. It just kind of really adds flavor to the solo. Okay, so just work on those, like the the triplets and all those things. Then we went into the G major scale, the open, or I should say, the basic pattern that you do. Excellent. Okay, everything was very good. I just want to make sure you're really familiar with the added positions on that key. So when we're doing G from the sixth string, uh, we're going to do 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 7, 8, and you stop right there at 8 on your second string. All right, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 7, 8. That's it. All right, so that's position mode one. Mode two was you're starting on A, or your fifth fret of the sixth string. The numbers would be 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 7, 8, 5. You land on 5, you end on 5 on your first string, right? So you're right there. Okay, so then we go to B. All right, B is going to be your third mode. All right, so that's going to be fret number 7, 8, 10. 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, and then 7, 8, 10, 7. And that's it for that one. All right, so that's going to be your third mode. And we ended it on that B. All right. So we worked on we're going to add more modes to that, of course, but we then went to the G major 7th, G major 7th there. My only concern with when you did the sweep, that one, all right, or you could do that too. When we did that, I noticed the hands were kind of like one of those things. Just try to, when you sweep, this is kind of a setup for like pressing down, like going in reverse, like when you strum down, or I should say strum up, because the pitch goes up. It goes up and then it goes back down, right? The reason I'm doing a half step there, it helps for tension. That tension will bring you a release when you have to return to the position. So that's why when I go all the way to the peak of it, it's a half step, your third fret of your first string. So right, let me do that again. There you go. So just like that. So it gives you some tension as far as going back into that original position. So You had a G major seventh there, right? And then we switched over to that C major seventh. We did that progression. The progression sounded good. Um, there's something I want to show you with that particular progression. If you could, for this one song, because of the style that it's in, if you play it with your fingers and not the pick, just try it. Um, use your thumb for that bass line. Okay, so your root would be, your pinky, which would be that fifth fret of the fourth string. Your thumb is going to act sort of like a percussion, like a background percussion when you're hitting the bass line. The bass line is going to be, and the chord itself, it's going to act as rhythm and the beat as well. You see, in week 2 of that manual, I kind of go into how certain cultures will do that, especially the African and Brazilian or Afro-Brazilian culture will make use of that. Okay, so what I mean by that, I'm going to play a couple of bars of that, just in the one position. Right? So when we're doing that, if you look at the thumb, it's going. That's actually the percussion as well. So there, it's kind of so that's all. That bass line is the progression and the rhythm. All right, so it's all kind of tied into one, which is why it's got a certain kind of a sound to it. Right, so that's what we're trying to do with the whole thing when you go from the G major 7th to the C major 7th. Okay, so I want you to work on that, just that concept. Right, don't use the pick though on this particular rhythmical progression. Just use the hands, your thumb for the root or the bass line. You're going to use your index finger, your middle finger, and you could use your ring finger for strumming up on the first 3 strings, right? You can put a little bend in your fingers too to give it an extra pop, right? Right? So that's kind of the feel that you want, right? Okay, so you did that. That was really good. And challenge yourself with it. I think you can really do it because you've got a good sense of rhythm with these progressions. Okay, so we did that. Then we went into the autumn leaves. Oh, before I forget, we did the arpeggios. That was important. Okay, we did the G major arpeggio, and I showed you something that you could do with that instead of doing that. You just keep your fingers, your middle finger and your index finger planted on the fret. So 3rd fret and 2nd fret. 3rd fret on your 6th, 2nd fret on your 5th. And you're just making use of that pinky. The pinky is doing all the work. All right. Right. So you can do a lot of quick things with that. See? So I'm going to do it real slow. Right? I'm just kind of spazzing out with it, but you can do a lot of cool things, especially when you're doing jazz. You can do little tricks like that. You went down to the C major arpeggio. It's the same thing. All right. Okay, so those were your arpeggios. We did the major 7 sweeps. Everything's good there. C major scale. Once again, the scale numbers would be 3 5 7 3 5 7 4 5 7 5 6 8 5 7 8. It's tricky when we're going from G to C because that difference that we're making, because this second string was giving you a little bit of a problem. That's the only difference there is between a C major and a G major scale. The G major has an F sharp. And this particular note, that 5 and then 7, that 7 on your second string, that's an F sharp. Okay, the 6 is an F. All right, so the F sharp, there's only one sharp in the G major scale, and that's the F sharp. Right, so that's what you're hitting. That's why we were getting confused and you could hear the mistake. Yeah, see, that's why, because you were hitting the sharp. Okay, honest mistake. I still kind of make that sometimes. All right, so for the C, you're hitting the 5, 6, 8, and then you're hitting the 5, 7, 8. That's it. So 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, 5, 7, 8. Perfecto. All right, and you know the other position. We've been doing that for a long time. So it's 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5, and then to the 7, and so on and so forth. Okay, from there we went into the A natural minor. You know that one. So that's 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, 5. I showed you a little trick where you're going to have the idea of doing the A natural minor, except you're just going to start with the 8, your pinky, right? And you're going to go and do the rest, and you're going to end off on your pinky on the 8th fret of the first string, right? Because the 6 and the 5th, the 6 and the first are the same note, right? So we went 8, and then we went 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, 5, 7, 8. All right. Now that sounds familiar because that's your C major scale, right? So we just kind of did it in a different kind of a way. We went and did the 7th mode. The 7th mode, 6th mode being the A natural minor. The 7th mode would have been the B. You're starting off on the B, so that's your 7th fret. All right, so that would look this way. I kind of made a mistake when we first did it because I got mixed up with that G major positioning as well. So we did 7, 8, 10, right? Then we did 7, 8, 10. Then we went 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. And then we went 8, 10, 7. Stopped on 7 on your first string because that's a B. All right, so just like that. Okay, and we went into the C major scale, which would have been the 8th mode. You do that just like you did the G. All right, and you had it right there. Okay, there was also the D. We started on the D. That would have been your that would have been your 2nd mode. We kind of switched around with the C major, but we started here. That was your 10th fret. We did 10, 12, 13, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 10, 12, 13, 10. And we ended right there on the 10 of the first string. And then we did the 3rd mode from your 6th string. We did fret number 12. We did 13, 12, 13, 15. Then we did 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 12, 13, 15, 12. Wow. All right. All right. 12, 13, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 12, 13, 15, 12. Okay. All right. So play around with that. Okay. And we did a few jazz progressions on that, but we just we ended it there as far as your modes were concerned. There's going to be more that we're going to do. Remember that your A natural minor also contains the pentatonic. I should say the pentatonic. The A pentatonic contains the A natural minor. Okay, so you can do your pentatonic when you're in the key of C, when you're doing your solos. Go back and forth into that pentatonic and then do your modes, and it'll sound really nice. Okay. And before I forget, when you're doing the key of G, your sixth mode was going to be the E, right? So your natural minor that you could do would be in the E. So that means your pentatonic will be E pentatonic, and that's your 12th fret. You would just do what you would have done on your 6th fret. I'm sorry, your 5th fret, doing the basic that pattern. You're just going to move that over to your 12th fret and do the same thing. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing to the key of G. All right. So when you solo, which brings me to the Autumn Leaves composition, all you're doing when it's time for you to do a solo, you do those modes, and then you go into the pentatonic. Every now and then, go into the pentatonic. All right, because you're expressing that whatever you want to express, but you just kind of like really spice it up with that pentatonic, and it adds a lot of depth to the solo, right? We went into Autumn Leaves. I think you're going to remember the chord changes to that. I'm going to show you real quick. I'm not going to say too much about like where to place those fingers because it might drive you insane. I know it's driving me insane. So A minor 7, D dominant 7, D dominant 7 is this. Boom, right? And you hit the bass line, right? Then you go to a G major 7th. G major 7th, that's the 3rd fret. If you can follow this, you can do anything. There you go. So that's a G major 7th. And then you have the C major 7th, just like we did, right? C major 7th. You just hit the bass line. Then we did an F sharp minor 7th, right there. Boom. And then we went down to a B dominant 7th, B dominant 7. Right? And then we did the E minor. That's all you're doing. I should hit the whole thing. There you go. Like that. So, play these very slowly. Use your ear for this, because if I'm doing like after I did the A minor 7th, right, I meant the D dominant 7th. If you hear yourself doing this, you know that there's something off. So it's a dominant 7th. So the dominant 7th means you're gonna flatten the 7th. So you have to lift up the middle finger and hit and you'll hear the difference. It's got a more of a bluesy kind of a feel to it. That's the major 7th. Right, that's the dominant 7th, right? Yeah, it's your G major 7th. And that's a C major 7th. If I hit no, that's get more familiar with that sound of those chords, because that'll help you to know, okay, something's off there. So is that supposed to be a 7th? So let me do this. That's a dominant 7th. No, that's not right. So let me try it. All right. So after that sounds like a major 7th. So you want to play around with the ear, right? And then F sharp minor 7th. All right, so that's a B dominant 7th, and then you go back into the E. All right, so just play around with it. Play around with it. If you need me to call out the numbers of the positionings of the chords, I'll do that, but I want you to challenge yourself. All right. A good pointer would be, okay, you remember what we did when we just did bar chords, like the majors from your 5th string. Play around with that if you get mixed up, and just kind of like, okay, it can't be, I know a bar chord is here, let me just try this, let me try that. Okay, so if you run into any problems with this, just drop me a line or an email, let me know what's going on, and I'll do another video clip and I'll just call out the numbers for the positionings. But I think you got it. Anyway, all around, you did a wonderful job. And if you get through the chords, if is easy for you, try the melody. Try the melody. I'm going to send some more things your way, and I just want to see what you think. All right. Thank you very much, Chris. And I will see you next Monday. Bless.